That's me.
Welcome to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. All right, nice tonight. Coriander's with me, and special guest returning to the Night Watch Zone, Gory B Movie. Ladies, what's going on? How's it going?
Pretty good. I like that song you got in the opening. Who mixed that? That's killer. How do I get myself a download? You on
A
Spotify? Can I
download.
download it from iTunes?
Wow.
Chuck a
We
couple
we
bucks at you?
that's so funny. I've never had anyone ask me that. No,
I need
it's
this in
my
my
good
life.
buddy Corey King Needgore. He did the lyrics for it over a beat that actually we've had for it's been a long time, right, Corey? We've used that beat for a long time. Actually, pretty much since the channel started. But one day he just said, "I'll write some lyrics to that," and he did, and there we go.
Dope. I
It
can rock
is.
out to that on my workout. I need that, dude.
It is fun. I like it. I really do.
Make that a Patreon perk. Like you get the soundtrack or something.
Oh, see, now you got me thinking here. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I'm
All
just
right.
here to help, man.
There you go. There you go. So we are going to talk about some of our modern horror movies that are favorites of ours or recommendations. And this should be pretty fun because all three of us picked a couple of movies each, and none of us picked the same movies. So that actually, to me, says a lot. But let me just see who we got in the chat real quick, and then we'll get going. And of course, we'll also be talking about what's going on Gory's channel, which of course you guys should be checking out. You guys should be. You guys should be. We got Neil in the chat. We got Crystal. What's going on? Brandon's in the chat. Spooky's in the chat saying hello, Gory.
The Spookies?
Hello,
I
everyone.
love that movie.
I still haven't seen that.
Yeah, we're getting spooky.
I heard it was good.
We're watching Spookies.
What's
It's
up,
a very
Wayne?
confusing movie.
Jack's in the chat too. What's up, Jack? How you doing, man? Nice to see you. And we got Ben Grimm saying hola. What's going on, Ben? How you doing? Nice to see you.
The chiseled jaw of horror tube, Ben Grimm.
Ben saying we are the Night Watch. Yeah.
Isn't that the most badass thing? I swear. Like every time I hear that, and then you have Innocent Blood on there, and I love that movie. That whole thing is just dope. It's great.
Thanks. I appreciate that. Wayne saying hi to Coriander. David.
Hello.
David's horror's in the chat. What's up, David?
Hey.
Saying hi to us.
Hi.
Nice to see you. Nice to see you. We got Carrie. Carrie's in the chat, one of our channel members, supporting us as always. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. All right.
Hurting myself. I got Gail
Don't
weather
hurt
strings
yourself.
today. I'm having a rough day.
Don't know. Come on, man. You're gonna make it. I promise you. Haunted by Horrors in the house too. What's going on?
Gail Weathers can make it, so can I.
Right?
She's
I didn't hate her hair in Scream 3.
I will say that's
look, but I didn't
totally
hate it.
off topic, but that is one of the things I really hate about film criticism. I really hate when people go for low blows to make fun of a movie because I've said this before. It's so much easier to make fun of a movie than it is to appreciate it, especially B movies. And that really, the low blows bug me. Like the people who they reviewed Leprechaun and they make fun of Jennifer Aniston's nose. Like, I don't like that. I don't like when people make fun of Gail Weathers' hair. Like the costume design did that. Focus on her performance. I just think it's low hanging fruit, and I don't think it's that funny.
Yeah.
And everyone has made the joke, so it's not like you're breaking new ground here.
Right. True enough. I mean, even she did, and David Arquette.
I liked when she did it though.
Well, and David Arquette, he admitted that it was kind of his idea, or he kind of egged her in that direction because she asked his opinion, and he said, "Yeah, go with that. That looked good." So it's actually
I liked her chunky highlights in part 2 and stuff. I just, I don't know. I mean, I guess I've done it too, so I'm not above it. But a few of them I've heard just so many times where I'm just like, come on, come up with some new materials. What we need, new material.
Excellent point. Excellent point. So we're going to be talking about modern horror. So I want to start this off. I was going to do this a little bit different. I know we're going to talk about recommendations, and we've got a couple movies each that we listed.
I got a new list, and I'm going to probably change it because I'm a wild card.
Oh. Well, that's fine. That's okay.
Wild card.
That's all right. But what I want to do is ask you guys, what what are your thoughts on modern horror movies as far as, you know, how effective are they? How much do you enjoy them? What's the difference? Because all three of us are in the same generation, and a lot of our audience is as well. So what are your thoughts as far as how horror has been in the last, let's say, decade or 15 years? And obviously, Gory, I'll start with you, and then I'll go to you, Coriander.
I was looking forward to what Coriander had to say, but whatever, Night. Thought we were friends,
Oh,
but
jeez.
don't give the people what they want. No, I'm kidding. I'm joshing you. I'm joshing you. No, I think horror of all periods of time are interesting, and I think what's interesting about horror is it's a commentary on what is going on in society at the time. What are people afraid of? And I think to
Hmm.
dismiss any era of horror is to dismiss the genre as a whole. What we have now is commenting on what is going on in our society, and I think the filmmakers who are putting out horror films right now are doing a good job of that. And
Hmm.
I think it's interesting that it's continuing to evolve, because if you look at some genres, and I don't mean to be dismissive. I'm not an expert on these genres, so I can be wrong. And if you have a different opinion, I respect that. But like, to me, like, the action movie hasn't changed much in the last 30 years.
Hmm.
Or the romantic comedy, kind of, it's had a couple high points here and there, but it's largely stayed the same. But horror is always mutating, and it's really exciting. And I think your best time capsule for any period in time is to look at the horror movies that were out then. What were people afraid of?
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. How about you, Coriander?
For me, I do love my old school movies. I'm an old school CGI girl. So with some of these new movies, I think the CGI can be like over the top and not so good. But I enjoy modern day horror also, because it brings, you know, obviously a different time because you're capturing the now instead of back then what we're watching, from the 80s, which is my decade that I love.
Hmm.
Um, but I like look at Hereditary, look at what that's brought. That's a good movie. It's crazy. Um,
Hmm.
the shock element that you get. I'm tired of the remakes that they're remaking. I'm sick of them going into like, just doing the same things over. I like the new stuff that's coming. Like I'm looking
Hmm.
forward to what is Jordan Peele's again? Nope. Is it
Nope.
Nope.
Nope?
Yep.
Yeah. Like I'm so looking forward
For
to
me, that's
that.
going to be a yep.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I thought
Right.
out.
I feel the
I
same
agree.
way. Yeah.
Hmm.
So, I like the original stuff that's coming out. Malignant, I thought that was really good and
Hmm.
such a shocker at the end. And I love the shock values to like
Yeah.
any type of a movie. So, especially when they bring it.
Yep.
So, there's a lot to enjoy with both modern and old school. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I agree. Wayne was saying, what is modern horror? And just to kind of clarify that, as far as the way I'm describing it tonight, I'm just thinking, within the last, like 15 years, somewhere around there. I mean, I guess you could kind of look at it as anything after 2000, but we just wanted to get a sense of that time period, and just calling that modern horror. Other people may think it's a little bit different, and that's fine too. But Denisha's saying, "Hey, what's going on, Denisha? How you doing?"
Hello.
Everyone in the chat is freaking out about your hair, man. Have you gotten a haircut?
They are.
Yes, he did.
Of like
I
5
guess
comments
so.
about how gorgeous your hair is.
Jeez, what is this about hair all night?
I don't. And fucking Will Smith started the thing.
I guess so.
Get Knight's
Yes.
hair out of your mouth.
God,
Sorry, I had to.
no, that's all right. But we
Can you
got
guys hear my
confused
dogs? I'm so
reviews.
sorry if you can.
No.
Okay, good. They're freaking out, but I wasn't sure if you could hear 'em.
Oh, hey, trust me, it happens. Yeah, I heard it that time. There we go. That's okay though. What's up, confused reviews? What's up, Night and Gory? How you doing? Nice to see you. Nice to see you. New to the channel, awesome creator. Awesome.
All right, my loves.
Crystal saying, is elevated horror talk reached its peak? Is everyone over it or vibes with it? Oh, that's an interesting question. And when we talk about elevated horror, a lot of people have different ways they define that. But I think, to me, I mean, pretty much like both of you guys said, I appreciate all different types of horror that we've had, especially within the last 15 years or so, whether it's considered quote unquote elevated horror or regular horror, slasher, whatever it is, supernatural, possession, all that type of stuff. So I'm pretty cool with it all. I think all three of us are on that same
The
page.
only thing I don't like about the term elevated horror, one, people treat it like it's a new thing. It's absolutely not. Look at movies like Rosemary's Baby, Possession,
Right.
elevated horror, whatever the fuck you want to call it, is been around for a long time. It's not anything new. The only thing that's different about it is one of the movies that's hardest to make is those kind of artsy type movies. And A24 was one of the ones who led the pack and saying, we're going to go ahead and focus on that. These movies that don't get made, that's what we're going to put our money into. And that's the only thing that's really different. But the thing I hate the most about it, and it's not the movies, it's the name. I hate the name. Elevated by definition implies that it's somehow better than other horror. And I don't think that's accurate. I think it should be called thematic horror. I think that's because it's movies that are dealing with metaphor and theme, and they have kind of like a deeper layer to them. But I don't think that is any better than a creature feature or any other aspect of horror.
Absolutely. No, I totally agree with it. No doubt at all. Fate, what's up? Fate decided in the chat. You are crazy, man. You are so crazy. Love you though. Love you, man. Tony Collette, my fellow Aussie, was great in Hereditary. Yes. Very much so. Neon Black reviews. Good horror movies exist in every decade and genre. True enough. Yeah, I agree.
Another thing that kind of comes to mind for me when people dismiss modern horror that I try to remember, I feel like a lot of times our personalities and our interests are kind of shaped around when you were a teenager. I was a teenager in the 90s, which a lot of people argue is the worst decade of horror. Or they'll say the early 2000s. Either one of those get picked on a lot unfairly.
Yeah.
And I love 90s horror. I think 90s horror is so great. A lot of my favorite movies are from the 80s and the 90s, like The Craft and The Faculty. And I love all those movies. And I remember when I was a teenager, even other horror fans were like, well, it's just not good anymore. It's not the 70s and the 80s. And it's just like, you're not even giving these a chance. These are really good movies. And for me, they've held the test of time. And so I don't want to be dismissed. I don't ever want to get to the place where I stop listening or stop looking at movies and what they have to offer me, because I think that's when you are going to start missing out on something really special. If you come to the conclusion that the best has already been given to us, then you're going to miss out on so much.
Yeah, it's true. Very true.
It's funny
because for years, what's going on?
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say for years, my ex was so against anything PG-13. So for, I don't know how many, like I said, so many years, I missed a lot of PG-13 movies that are actually like horror that are really good.
I think some of the scariest movies I've seen are PG-13. It's because the ratings board, if you watch this movie called This Is Not Yet Rated, it's a really great movie about how flawed the ratings board is. Something like a lesbian kiss is going to get rated R, which is stupid. A lot of stupid sexual stuff, a lot of interracial stuff, LGBTQ stuff, that's going to get rated R. And yet The Grudge, The Ring, terrifying movies are PG-13, which to me, those movies scared the shit out of me. That's, I mean, The Breakfast Club is rated R for language. Like it's bizarre. And so you can show something scary, but if it's visually scary, they don't know what to do with it because nobody's getting their eyes gouged out. Nobody's getting stabbed. They don't know how to tell you to censor it. So they're like, I guess it's PG-13. So it's a horribly flawed system. And I think if you're going to say that you're not going to watch PG-13, you're going to miss some really scary movies.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I've been catching up for the past few years.
Good for you, girl.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, how good is your hat? It's awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Jason
I had a
in the
friend beat it.
house.
So yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Neil was saying, I think it's
so
harder to
ranty
make a
today.
great horror movie now simply because so many ideas have already been done. That's true too. And that's why when there's a good movie that comes out, especially within the last decade or 15 years, I actually appreciate it maybe a little bit more because of that fact. And, especially in the horror genre, I mean, there's just been so many movies, in my lifetime, growing up when I did, and to see movies that still are fresh or still, capture my imagination or make me go, oh shit, like a Hereditary, like my jaw drops, or like Malignant or something like that. I just have to give it that much more credit, because I'm like, wow, some folks are still able to do creative things in this genre, and it's amazing. It really,
Every
really is.
year I find something that I haven't seen before. And I think it's a little, again, it's easy to dismiss because you look at you'll be like, oh, but this is what the 80s had to offer us. And they'll name like 4 or 5 movies from the entire fucking decade. How many years do you think went by? Like 1982, maybe nothing came out. 1981 was a massive year. 1982,
Right?
it was okay. 1980, it was okay. There's a lot of dud years in the 80s too, guys. But when you group a whole decade together, you're like, you pull out a handful, and just like 20 years from now, they're going to look back here and they're going to pull a handful like Hereditary and stuff. And there's going to be people who say like somehow that's better too. I don't think so. And as far as things being the same, Joseph Campbell, he is the guy that helped like George Lucas write Star Wars and stuff. He wrote a book called The Hero with a Thousand Faces. And it's essentially about the monomyth, that basically every story we have to tell is the same fucking thing. From the Bible to the Matrix to, it's all a hero's journey. It's all different versions of the same thing. But I think what makes it unique and what makes horror unique is how you manipulate it, how you alter it based on your own fears and perceptions, like what you have personally to bring to it. And there's so many great filmmakers who put so much of themselves into their scripts and put so much of themselves into their directing. And I think that's what makes it new and exciting.
Agreed. Yeah, it's true, man. It's true. Dice is in the chat too, saying bonjour. Dice! What's up, Dice? Dice is awesome. And we got Bobby. Oh crap, Bobby's in the chat from Bobby Likes It Spooky. What is going on? How you doing? Nice, nice. Well, let's do this, ladies. Let's go through some of your recommendations for modern horror movies that you really enjoy, and maybe why you enjoy it. Because I think, like I said, this is an interesting couple of recommendations because none of us chose the same movies, and I think that speaks. Well, that's fine. No, you can go with different ones. I'll let you
These
start
are all
off.
movies that I own that I have watched more than 5 times.
Okay.
Nice.
That sounds good. What do you got for your first one?
Does it have to be in an order?
No.
I really
no. This is
stuff that maybe you guys haven't seen.
This isn't a ranking of it. This is just different movies that you like, or that you would say are some of your favorites.
I'm going to go with one that everyone's seen to start with. A lot of these on here I grabbed because people haven't seen them, but just to start with, I'm going to go with one everyone's seen. Very rarely, I don't like to say, very rarely when I see a movie do I have what I tell Danny is I have no notes for you, which is when I watch a movie, I try not to be critical, but I'm like, okay, here are my notes. I would have enjoyed it this much more if you did this with the character, or if this didn't happen. When I saw Get Out, I was like, I have no notes for you. That was a perfect fucking movie. And I've rewatched it about 18 fucking times. And it's flawless. The acting is flawless. The story is flawless. Every time I watch it, I notice something I didn't notice before. The music is perfect. I mean, there is nothing wrong with that movie. It's funny. It's scary. It's got important themes in it. It was representative in a way that movies hadn't been up until that point. I mean, yeah, you could say, okay, but it's kind of like Stepford Wives, but it's completely different, because Stepford Wives had a lot to talk about, like sexism and stuff. And the other thing I liked about it, I was actually Get Out, when I saw the trailer, I was so initially like, what the actual fuck? Because Jordan Peele's a comedian and the trailer was not good. I was like, what the fuck is this? I was actually worried it was going to be kind of offensive, because I was like, this is so touchy. How are you going to do this in a way that is good? And it was really good because not only was it very pointed in what it had to say, but you can take that out of it and it's still an entirely entertaining fucking movie. But what I also liked about it is it taught me about something I didn't know about. Like, it's kind of a thing now where people know about like casual racism or liberal racism, where people like they think they're being kind, I
Mm-hmm.
guess,
Mm-hmm.
but they're still overly just focused on the person's race and not focused on them as a human being.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you would meet people like that and you'd be like, well, they're not racist, but they're
Mm-hmm.
awkward. And it's like, no, they are being racist. And that movie
Mm-hmm.
like opened my eyes to that. So, I mean, in so many different ways, I thought that movie was just phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, and it's interesting you word it like that because one of the first videos that we did, this was me and Kill, was on Get Out on the old channel. And God, man, we must have talked for like an hour and a half, almost 2 hours on the, we talked on the movie, but obviously the themes of the movie. And that is so true because it look, I've gone through that stuff in real life, so watching the movie from my perspective, I was just kind of like, yes, yes, that really happens. So it spoke to me. But what was really cool about the movie is I think that Jordan Peele, the way he directed it, the way it was crafted, the acting and everything, I think it spoke to everyone. And I think that's really, to me, that's what's so special about him. That's why I'm so excited for his career and so excited about Nope and so forth. So that's a great pick. It's a really good pick. I love that movie so much. Coriander, I know you love that movie too. And we got to do a new episode on that one. But
It's
what
a
do you
great
have for
movie. He's got a
recommendation?
very unique perspective, I think, too, because I mean,
Yeah,
yes, he's black. He's dealt with this. This is from his fucking life,
right.
but he also like his mother's white. His wife is
Hmm.
white. So he knows, I think he has a unique perspective and that he knows the other side of it. Like he probably has to deal with a lot of dumb white people, and also a lot of well-meaning people, but he's
Well, and you
also
saw that
not.
in a lot of his comedy too, in Key
Yes,
and
but he's
Peele.
also not like some people. I feel like when they deal with too much of something that's offensive or like dealing with racism, they shut down and they're like, you know what, I'm fucking done with fucking white people, right? Like he doesn't do that, obviously. Like
Right.
he is making movies that obviously black audiences, I think, from what you said, can relate to, but I think they're also able to speak to white audiences in a way that's not like preachy or that
Yeah.
that excludes them.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
it allows us to be part of the conversation.
I agree. Yeah, I think that's what makes his movies really, really good. Like I was saying, I think that it really reaches to everyone, and I think, and I know that's what he wants to do because I've seen him talk, and he's such a horror nerd too. He loves the genre.
Really
He knows
is.
he knows the genre, so there's a lot of respect in it as well. You can see that in his work. You really, really
Some
can.
Something he said that I really liked is he said a joke and a scare are crafted the same way, and it's true. There's the build up, there's the actual thing, and then there's the release, and it has to be timed perfectly. So it makes sense that he's so good at it. And then another thing, like because a lot of people, Get Out is one of the ones that it is hard to tell people that you like it because a lot of people like. I mean, fuck. Even when I said I liked Candyman, which I didn't like as much as Get Out, Candyman's got some flaws.
Hmm.
The remake, not the original. The original is perfect. Um,
Agreed.
but a lot of people on Horror Addicts, when we did a Let's Go See, were like, oh, you're just trying to be woke or something. Like, that's not it at all. That movie addressed societal issues in a very intelligent way that was not excluding anybody. And I think that's amazing. A movie that it's like, honey, I agree with what you're saying. We are on the same page. I've dealt with this shit. A Black Christmas,
Hmm.
the remake. I'm like, honey, I like your message. It's a good message. It's an important message. Your delivery is fucked. You are
Mm.
excluding the entire male audience, so they're not listening, which
Hmm.
sucks because you have something important to say, and your movie isn't entertaining.
Right. Yeah.
Like
No,
you
that
don't
movie
have a
was
movie. You're just on the
rough.
soapbox.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
No, the
not about,
execution was
well,
not good.
yeah, it's not just because it has a good message that makes it good. It's the way it was executed.
Hmm. Absolutely. No doubt about it. We got Beth. Beth's in the chat too saying, hello, everyone. What's
I
going
love
on,
Beth.
Beth?
You
Beth's
guys
in the
need to check out her
house.
channel if you haven't. She's got tons of just great 80s like vinyls and stuff on there. So cool.
Yeah. She is the master of vinyl. That's how I look at it. But Coriander, what do you got for your recommendation? Or one of your recommendations, I would say.
One movie I really enjoyed was Tusk. I
Oh
mean, you
yeah.
had,
I
Yeah.
love Tusk
yeah,
so much. All right.
yeah, it was
That's awesome. Did you
really
know that was the
good.
very first video we did on Horror Addicts?
Oh
Nice,
wow. That's cool.
nice.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can't think who the hell is this guy again? I'm so bad with names.
Justin Long.
Justin Long.
Yes, he was so good in this. And I felt so bad for this guy. He's a podcaster who's going to get this, interview with this recluse, and yeah, shit goes down, and it's got gore, a massive transformation, and yeah, it's a really good movie.
Yeah, I agree. Good choice. Good choice. Well, I'll throw out because I had a couple that came to my mind too, as far as recommendations, and one that I really, really enjoyed was Possessor. Um,
Mm.
and this is it is a freaky ass movie. I'm telling you, when I watched it, and I've seen so many horror movies over the years, this was a movie that when I was watching it, I actually, not that it was scary, but it was just creepy. When you watch a movie, you just kind of get creeped out by it. And anyone that's watched the channel, they know I'm a huge David Cronenberg fan. So this was directed by his son Brandon, and holy
Mm.
crap, man, he really is showing some really awesome skill. And yeah, so this was one, and it's funny because when this movie came out, it kind of flew under my radar a little bit. And I'd heard some folks say, man, this is a pretty good movie, it's trippy as hell and this and that, and I just didn't get a chance to watch it, I think maybe until maybe a year or so after it came out. And I watched it, I was like, wow, this movie is great. I really, really love it. So that's one recommendation that I would throw out, is Possessor. If you guys have not seen it, you should check it out. Cheers to Fears saying, how do you compare Us versus Get Out? Do you think Us holds up next to Get Out? Well, I'll tell you this. I really did like Us, and I think the concept of Us was pretty interesting. But I think the third act is where it kind of took a dive. Not a huge dive, but it definitely took a dip. I wasn't as on board with the final act. So to me, I think Get Out is a better movie overall, execution wise. But I do give him credit for Us because, like I said, for about 2/3 of that film, I was like, wow, especially the invasion part, that aspect of it was, I mean, and Lupita Nyong'o, holy crap, man, playing, two different versions of herself. She was fantastic to me, anyways. She was fantastic in Us. She really, really was. But anyways, what do you guys think? Did you guys have any, you know, favorite between Us or Get Out?
I enjoyed both of them.
You did. You did. Okay. All right. Oh, she's muted.
Sorry, my dog was barking, so I muted myself. I mute everybody. It's kind of a thing. For me, Us is not even in the same league as Get Out. I like Us. I own Us. But
Yeah.
the science doesn't work. When you think about it, like all these people underground and stuff, it's just like, well, that doesn't really add up. A lot of the stuff doesn't add up. And so that's when I rewatch it, I'm like, no, that just doesn't add up. And it's frustrating because it's loosely inspired by an episode of The Twilight Zone where it was not a scientific thing. It was another dimension. And I'm just like, Jordan, you had it right there. Why didn't you just
Right?
make it another dimension that was mirrored to our own? That would have solved all the
Everything.
fucking flipping plot holes. And so it frustrates me. It's not enough to make me not even like dislike the movie, but it is enough to make me put it a notch below Get Out.
Yeah.
I still think beautiful acting. I love the fucking soundtrack. I mean, there's so much I love about that movie. It's just, I think it's most frustrating when you know a movie is so damn close to being perfect and it's just like it has a fatal flaw and you're just like, but why?
Yep, I agree. Adam saying we wouldn't have Halloween without Giallo and Black Christmas. That is so true. I love the original Black Christmas. Very, very good movie. Brandon saying if you ask which I prefer, I'd say Us. I think Carrie said that as well. All right. All right. Very cool. Very cool. We got Bluck in the chat, the master of the thumb comments. How's it going, man? How you doing? All right. Okay. And let me also throw this at you ladies before we do our other couple recommendations. Do you guys have, and I know we're talking about some of our favorite modern horror movies, but do you guys have any actresses that come to your mind that had really good performances in horror movies? And if you don't, that's fine. But I just wanted to throw that out there because I think that that's an interesting thing to think about. Because obviously in the 80s, we had a lot of great performances from actresses. But I think that what's cool about modern horror is we have actresses that aren't just playing the final girl, you know? That's just my opinion, but what do you guys think as women yourselves?
As far as standout actresses, and especially ones that I feel like I love because they keep gravitating towards horror, so it's just like you're a girl after my own heart. One that comes to mind to me is Samara Weaving. She's been in so
Mm,
many great movies. She's played, aggressive characters. She's played the victim. She's played such a wide range,
hmm
and obviously she loves the genre. And I love her
yeah.
spunk, and she just always looks like she's having a great time.
She was great in Ready or Not. I
Loved
mean,
her in that so much. And The
wow.
Babysitter, she's good in so many horror movies.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Bobby saying I wouldn't compare Us and Get Out only because of the different themes. For me, Us was a good ass time, but Get Out was the better movie. Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. No doubt. How about you, Coriander? Do you have any actresses that, kind of interested you in the last, 10, 15 years? Or what do you think about roles that actresses have in these modern horror movies versus like back in the day, like in the 80s?
you know, I thought Toni Collette did an excellent job
She got
in
robbed of that Oscar.
Hereditary. Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, she definitely she's a standout for me, and yeah, she might not be young, but oh,
Mhm.
geez, that's kind of a tough question because I think that the chick from The Witch, that
Mhm. Anya
And
she,
Taylor-Joy.
Taylor-Joy.
yeah, yeah, she's someone who I think's gonna go far, and hopefully in the horror genre, because she was really
She's
good in that movie.
she's good in
Yeah.
Last Night at Soho this last year too.
I
Mhm.
haven't seen that yet, so
Mhm.
yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, she's talented, man. I mean, you can just tell that she just has a certain it factor and she can do different
Mhm.
roles, which to me is so awesome. I mean, here she is in one movie, like The Witch, which is so it's such a period piece and it's
Yeah.
so kind of out of left field. And then she can be in something like, New Mutants, a superhero movie, and it's like, that's just really cool.
Lit,
Or
like
Last
she's
Night in Soho.
Right?
Mandalorian.
She's awesome, man. She's awesome. Um, so how about another recommendation or another modern horror movie that you enjoy, Gory?
Uh, okay. I'm gonna go with probably the one I watch the most and the one I quote the most is The
Okay.
Greasy Strangler. I love this movie so
Oh,
damn much. Have you guys seen this?
no,
No.
Are
not at
you
all.
kidding me? Okay.
I'm
All right.
serious.
We're,
I'm
we're,
Oh
we're,
no.
serious.
we're having some words right now. Now, I will warn you, some people cannot finish this movie. I don't freaking get it, but it's it's really funny. It's kind of like it's written kind of like Napoleon Dynamite, where it's just so damn awkward. But
Hmm.
it's about a father and a son. The son is full ass grown, but there is a serial killer called the Greasy Strangler, a guy who's covered in grease, and
Hmm.
he kills people, and he kills them so ridiculously cheesy. Like he strangles someone and the eyes pop out, but the dialogue is insanely quotable. Like you will be quoting this movie forever. You'll be saying bullshit artist for the rest of your life. It's so funny, it's so quirky. The music is so quirky. And yeah, it's a lot of people are very dismissive of it because it is, I guess, gross. I mean, you see a lot of naked people, but you're not really. I mean, the dong droppage is all fake. I mean, they're not actually naked. Like one
Hmm.
guy has a
Hmm.
ridiculously tiny one. The old man has. This sounds so terrible. And when he's
No.
done stabbing people, he goes through a car wash to get the grease off of him, and he's buck ass naked. But it's just I don't know. Without you seeing it, I don't know how to explain why it's so good. But it's just
Yeah.
so awkward, and it's entirely my kind of humor.
What year did it come out?
I think 2015.
Oh,
I don't know.
okay.
Let me take a look on Letterbox.
Cool. Yeah, because
It's
I don't
so
I
good.
don't I don't I've never
It's
heard
a
of it.
little Grey Gardens. It's a little Napoleon Dynamite. It's
Hmm.
so awkward. but you do actually really like the characters, and I think that's one of the things that makes any movie good. As far as it being actually scary, like, not so much, but
Yeah.
it is definitely a good, underrated, I think, like, horror comedy. But it is
Nice.
2016 is when it came out.
Oh, okay, cool.
And the guy
Brent,
who wrote this also wrote Come to Daddy. So if you guys saw Come to Daddy and you liked that and you liked just the way he
I've
writes,
heard of that one.
Come to Daddy was great with Elijah Wood, and Elijah Wood also produced Greasy Strangler. So
Oh, okay.
100%, I like that one a lot.
Nice. All right. Brandon saying, I didn't love Possessor due to the hype, but a revisit will be necessary. Yeah, when I first heard so much about it, I was wondering if the hype was real too. That might have been why I waited a while, but I really did enjoy it. And I know a couple of you guys, Cheers to Fear, saying that Possessor was such a ride. Bobby saying Possessor was wild. Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, I think it was it was different, and I always, especially if the movie is done well, I always appreciate those types of movies where when I'm watching it, I have no idea what the fuck is going to happen. So, and that was a movie like that. Uh, Dice saying Possessor's one I need to see. I definitely think so. And Carrie saying so worth the watch. Yes, 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 yes. Coriander, how about you? What do you have for another recommendation?
All right. So I picked the Autopsy of Jane Doe.
Good one.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
That
yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
you had these father and son coroners who get this young girl who comes in and they perform an autopsy to figure out who she is. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, once they start busting her open, and she's got like these, well, I don't want to go too deep because I don't know if people have
Yeah,
seen it, but
yeah, no
it's
spoilers.
got some creepy factors, and it's a real good movie.
And
Yeah, I
as
think so
someone who
too.
is a witch, and we very rarely see movies that are, I think, able to make witches scary without treating them like there's a lot of movies where it's like the bad guy is bad simply because they're a witch and they get no character development. And I'm not saying this
Mm-hmm.
has character development, but I do feel like the witch in it, you sympathize for her, but you're also afraid of her. And I think that's the perfect mix.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I agree. David saying, I liked Possessor. I liked Get Out more than Us. All right. All right. Very cool. Very cool. Another one that had seen not too long ago that again I was kind of late to the party, but it's funny because especially as a YouTuber, there's so much that you want to watch because you're a film fan, and of course there's so much you have to watch because you YouTube. You know what I mean? So I'm always trying to catch up. I always have a long watch list or whatever, but I'm glad I finally watched this movie, and it is Incident in a Ghostland.
That one was really
And
controversial too.
yeah, it definitely was. And all I can say is this, I mean, without any spoilers, it was a movie that again, it was a movie where it it shocked me, it surprised me, it took me on a ride. Not always very comfortable. Matter of fact, most of the movie is not very comfortable as far as that ride that I'm on. But it stuck with me. I remember after watch well, Coriander, you remember it, like after the movie was over, I kept thinking, wow, and I just kind of felt it's hard to describe it, but it affected me, and for a horror movie to do that, to me, that's a sign that it was special, Now, and it's funny because, well, I don't want to give this away because it's a question I'm going to ask you guys later, but this is a movie that I would put in the category for me. I'll ask you guys in a little while. You'll understand what I mean. But this is a great movie, at least in my opinion, and it did a lot of interesting things. So, anyways, that is my pick. And I think, well, hopefully you guys got one more because I've got at least one more
I got so
recommendation too.
many.
All right, well, let's get it. Let's get your next one. She's like, I got 20,000.
I've got like over 9,000. One I mentioned to you, so I'll talk about that one because I did mention it to you before, is Spring, which I think a lot of people didn't see, and that makes me so sad. It's by, let's see, what are their names? I keep forgetting. It's by Aaron Moorhead and Justin Benson. It came out in 2014. And their first movie, Resolution, was really good. It's very, like, you can tell they have definitely a love for Lovecraftian horror. Resolution
Yes.
was very much like that. This was their second movie, and it's very much more polished. But this was one of those movies where I'm like, I've never fucking seen this before. I had no idea what was going to happen next. And that rarely happens. You know, when you see enough movies, you're like, okay, this is going to happen next. But essentially, this young man, his mother has died. He's kind of given up his life to care for her. And now that she's passed away, he's like, well, I'm going to go to Italy. You know, and it kind of starts off like one of those like kind of romantic comedies. He sees a girl who's just captivating and he wants to take her out. And she's like, I will sleep with you, but I have no desire to go out with you, buddy. And he's like, he just really is interested in her. And so you're like, okay, I think I know where this is going. And then tentacles, all kinds of things happen, very Lovecraftian stuff. And I don't want to spoil it for you, but it's a monster you've never fucking seen before. Like, you have not seen this monster before. And it's done in a way that you've never seen before. It's so incredibly interesting. It's got such a rich lore to it. And I was just amazed. I mean, if you want a movie that's unlike anything you've ever seen before, this is that movie. And it's got genuine heart in it. It's genuinely just a brilliant movie. It's gorgeous to look at. You've got brilliant performances, an incredibly unique story, and fantastic world building. Not to mention, the movie's fucking scary. You've got some amazing kills in this thing.
Now, do you have that physically or streaming?
Yes, I do. I have it physically.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I definitely want to check it. I definitely want to check it out sometime because you threw that one out. I think that was the first recommendation you threw out. And I was like, wow, okay, so obviously you really love this movie. I got to check it out and make my watch list longer.
But yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the best movies have something to say about what it is to be human. And it absolutely has that. But it also has a lot to say about like relationships and love and, you know, coming of age stuff. It has so much to say in it, and it's really fun. And I loved this movie. It's probably also the most romantic horror movie I've ever seen without being like gushy or cheesy. I don't know.
Nice.
Like, some movies for me, like when movies push the romance too far, like you get into like Titanic stuff. I don't know. For me, that stuff kind of gets uncomfortable. But this movie's just the right pitch where it's believable and you honestly care for these characters.
All right. Beth was asking a question. And I will reiterate on this. How new are we talking for modern horror movies from the past 5 to 10 years or even further back? Well, I was just thinking, 10 to 15 years. I mean, if for some reason, and we're just going to talk about, another couple of recommendations anyways, but if these ladies had picked something like, let's say from 2005, I wouldn't have minded, that's fine too. I mean, modern is very loose anyways as a definition, but I just didn't want to talk about movies from the 80s or the 90s, because I think that those are time periods that, we talk about a lot of those movies as well as people on YouTube. So I wanted to talk about some movies that hopefully some of you guys have not seen or maybe haven't seen in a little while. So, and let me just check out the chat. I saw someone else ask something here. Carrie was saying Sarah Michelle Gellar was and is fantastic. I know what you did last summer, The Grudge, Scream 2, etc. She's a force. Yeah, I agree. Crystal saying, question for all three. What horror movies do you put on as background noise when you're home and doing stuff around the house? That is a great question.
Halloween every time.
Halloween for you. Wow.
I've seen it so many times and not a whole lot happens, so I can check into it every 5 minutes and not a whole lot has progressed with the plot. I'm like, okay, we're at this place, but mostly because the music's killer. Halloween and basically any John Carpenter movie because I want the music. So like I'll do that with a thing too.
I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean about that. What about you, Coriander?
Oh man. I'm kind of weird where if I'm gonna put a movie on, I'm gonna sit there and watch it, not just have it on in the background. For me, if I'm doing shit around the house, I listen to music, whether I'm cleaning or cooking, and so I don't know. That's a tough question. I'd have to think about that.
I've gone through some different periods because there was a time when and I still do this every once in a while. Like if I'm, laying down or about to go to sleep or something like that, a lot of times I will put movies on. And I used to do this a lot. It's funny you said this earlier, Gory, but I used to do that a lot with Escape from New York or The Thing, from John Carpenter. Almost the same reasoning because they're very atmospheric, but the music kind of pulls you into another place. But I also did this for a long time with Dawn of the Dead and Day of the Dead. I would just put those movies on. I know those movies forwards and backwards, and
Mm.
not and I love those movies. But if I just started dozing off or doing something around the house or something like that, I just would let them play, and
Like
it was just
the movies you
fun.
watch during Halloween when there's trick or treaters at your door every 5 minutes. Movies that you're allowed to be interrupted, or movies I put on, like you said, to fall asleep to because it's fine. I've seen it a billion times, but it's
Right?
relaxing.
Yeah. No. I
Or even just comfort food.
absolutely.
Like sometimes I'm sick and I don't want to get up and I don't want to think about what I want to watch, and I'm just like, yeah, I could watch The Craft. Let's put that on. Because I can
Right.
always watch The Craft. Actually, that's actually not true. When I'm sick, I always watch black and white movies for some reason. But yes, for the most
Oh.
part, stuff with like good music and stuff. When I'm sick, I love the Dracula on DVD with the new Lennon score. They added a score to it, and it's really good. That's my favorite
Hmm.
when I'm sick movie.
Nice,
Mhm.
nice. All right, that's a good one. Dice was saying Anya Taylor-Joy has caught my interest. Absolutely, yeah. I mean, she's amazing. She really is. She was great in Split. I
Yeah.
loved her in Split, man. That was a good one too. She's just fantastic. She really is. Coriander, do you have another recommendation?
Yeah, one movie that creeped me out, and I was kind of bummed at the end was Strangers.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
It's
you had a
genuinely
couple.
unsettling. And I
Yeah,
liked Good
yeah.
Mystery at Night too. A lot of people didn't, but I liked it.
Yeah. Yeah, not too many movies like really scare me, but
Hmm.
yeah, this one, like I said, I felt so bad, and yeah, it's just a real good movie. It's a couple that rents this house that it's like a vacation home that you can rent, and yeah, people, start terrorizing them and shit goes down. So yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one. I really enjoyed that. I thought Liv Tyler was really good in it.
She was, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and what a gut punch. I mean, no spoilers, but this movie was definitely like, holy shit,
I
really?
think the
Wow.
movies are good companion pieces too, because you watch The Strangers, and I know a lot of people got really frustrated with The Strangers because they don't fight back. But a lot of it is I feel
Hmm.
like they were already broken because
Mm,
they're like he proposed or whatever, and she says no, I think is what happened.
yeah.
But their
Yeah.
relationship
Hmm.
was failing. And so they were already broken when
Right.
horror shit happened to them. And it was just too much. And they didn't
Hmm.
have that strength together. And so they didn't make it. Whereas in the
That's
second one,
right.
you've got a family, and especially the brother and the sister and their parents die trying to help them. I feel like that's what made the difference. And they have fight in them. They have things to fight for. And
Hmm.
yeah, I think they're both great movies, and they're a great double feature.
I agree.
See, I
Yeah.
haven't seen the second one, so
You should watch it.
Hmm.
nice.
It's so good.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to.
Bailey, the gal in that, I can't remember her last name, but the gal who's the lead final girl in that, she's been in a lot of horror movies too. She started as a child in horror movies like Don't Be Afraid of the Dark. She's very
Mm.
good as
Nice.
well.
Hmm.
Oh, I saw that movie. Haven't seen that in a while. That was a pretty good one. Yeah.
It's a good one.
Yeah. David saying I'm a fan of Vera Farmiga. She's my
Good.
new Scream Queen. She is awesome, man. If any of you
And
guys,
her sister Thaisa is great too.
she is, man. Yes, absolutely. God, they look so much alike. It's not even
I'm
funny.
so annoyed that they have not been in a movie together where they play either mother, because she's old enough to be her mother.
That's right.
Where they either play mother or daughter or sisters. Like I thought the Conjuring universe was gonna do that. I'm like, are you
That's
kidding
what,
me, man?
yeah. When they
Like it's
did
such a missed
The Nun,
opportunity. Why have they
yeah,
not been in a movie together?
yeah, because when they did The Nun, I kept thinking they're gonna link them somehow,
I
as far as but yeah, they
There are
didn't.
rumors that the characters are related, but I want to see them on screen together.
Right, right. I agree. Absolutely. And also, if you guys have not seen her in Bates Motel was such a good series, and she played Norma, and man, she was just great. She was wow. everything she did was just amazing in that show. So definitely Vera is awesome.
Make me a
Really.
moderator so I can kick bots out of your chat.
Oh, there's a bot.
Yeah.
I'll take care of it.
All right. Well, you got it. I
will get
mean, you don't need me. It's fine.
But thanks for that though. But yeah, no, Vera is amazing. There's no doubt about that. No doubt at all. And oh yeah, we got Dan. Dan's in the chat too. Eric's in the chat. What's going on? Eric was saying, I think the Stranger sequel is even better than the original. Yeah.
I enjoyed it more. I think the first one's scarier though. I will say that. I mean, I like them for different reasons, but I definitely was like really into the second one. Like I was really it gets you pumped up. There's a brilliant scene in that where they're fighting because it's kind of like this abandoned trailer park. There's a brilliant scene where I think it's Total Eclipse of the Heart. This fight scene and this gorgeous lighting. Oh, it's perfection. It's so good.
Nice.
I get so excited.
All right. So now so I also, well, actually, I want to throw one more out too. And this is another movie that I, had heard about, but never got around to. And once I did, I was like, wow, this movie is really good, at least in my opinion. And that's Eden Lake. I don't know. Well, Coriander, I know you've seen it. I don't know if you've seen that one, Gory, but
I've seen it. I'm not, I respect it. I wasn't a big fan of that one.
Really? Okay. All right. I couldn't put it this way. It was one of those movies where I was just kind of like, what?
It felt like gut punch after gut punch after gut punch. And then the ending, I'm just like, my God. For me, it was good. It did what it set out to do. 100%. It's nothing against the movie. I'm not saying it's a bad movie. For me, that movie was not enjoyable. Like I was just like really stressed out and upset. And
yes, yeah. I know. And see, I know exactly what you mean. And that is actually going to lead me to a question that I want to ask you guys. So actually you might have already answered it, but hopefully you can give me another answer. No, that's not it. Let me just ask it. Well, I'll just ask you guys. Is there a movie or a horror movie that you enjoyed, but it's a horror movie that you can't watch all the time, or you have to really like give yourself, some space before you watch it? Are there any movies like that? Like, I assume this would be that type of movie because you were so stressed out about it. And it's like, it's something that you're not going to watch a lot, if at all.
I probably would never watch it again because I feel like, well, I also I think a lot of times, I just didn't like the characters in either. I mean, no shame against anyone who likes it. I know a lot of people like it. It just was not for me. But yeah, that one, it was a little, I don't know, it wasn't for me. One though that is hard to watch, but I do really love it. I do think it is one of, the best horror movies of all time. And it does not, as far as when people talk about psychological thriller, everyone always talks about Silence of the Lambs. And I have to say Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer did it better. That movie is so terrifying, and it does such a good job of it makes you feel gross because you see Henry as a person, even though he's capable of doing these horrible things. And that one too also has a gut punch ending, but it's so beautifully done that it's just like, I don't know, that movie's mesmerizing, but it's one I can't watch that much because it is really hard to watch.
Yeah. I hear you. How about you, Coriander?
I don't think I've watched a movie where I felt that way. So I'm having a hard time trying to answer
No, that's
that
fine.
one.
No, that's fine if you haven't. Or if you don't have one, that's perfectly fine. Beth was saying, I didn't care for Hereditary and will not watch it again. I watched it right after my dad died, so that didn't help. I could definitely understand that.
Sometimes I have a couple movies where just because of what happened in my life then, I will not, I don't even want to look at posters of it. For me, it's Rawhead Rex. Nothing against the fucking movie. I barely remember the movie, but just because it was on when something horrible happened in my life, it's just on the flip side, I'm going to tell you a funnier story because it's better than that one. But I remember I had a great night with my friends when we were watching Corky Romano, and we had such a good time. I bought the movie and then I rewatched it. I'm like, this is flat garbage, but I watched it with my friends. And so I had this great memory of it.
Yep. That's a good one. Adam saying, Night is Escape from New York. It's a comfort film as well, along with The Road Warrior, perfect double feature that influenced post-apocalyptic dystopian sci-fi films. That is so true, and I agree with you. And there have been many a time that I've watched them back to back. I absolutely love both movies. They are so good. They're lean and mean. I love those types of films. You know, there's not a lot of fat on the bone. You just have a story. It's pretty simple and straightforward. So I definitely agree with you. Neil was saying, great to hear Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer getting some love. Yes.
And that one's, it's one
Beth
of those
agrees.
ones too, where the first time I saw it, I wasn't sure how I felt about it. And every time I watch it, I'm just like, you know, it's just so good. And again, like I said, the ending is a gut punch, but it's like the best part of the movie because you're just like, like the movie tries to trick you in a couple places to like see his humanity. And then you see that ending and you're just like, holy shit. So beautifully done. And the music, dude, the movie's good.
Yep. Let's see. I think Midsommar would be the answer. That's what Brandon was saying. Yeah, that's a movie. Is definitely not a movie I'd watch a lot. I did like it. I think it was a good movie, but to be quite honest, I think I've only seen it twice, and it's not because I don't like it, but it's just a heavy film.
You don't get in a mood to watch it a lot. I bought it and I still haven't watched the copy I own, but I'm glad I own it.
Yeah, I agree. And let's throw out here's another question I wanted to throw out to you guys, that I was thinking about. What is a horror movie? Oh, no, we just did that one. No, hold on. What is a modern horror movie you feel is underrated or underappreciated? And what I mean by that is it is really a movie that people just don't seem to show it any love. And for you just don't understand why. What's the laugh for?
Well, I already.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, sweetie, go.
Okay. I was just gonna say I really loved Halloween Kills. So yeah. And I don't, I can get why people are so upset about it, but I don't know why they're that upset about it. So yeah.
All right. Okay.
That's a good answer.
What about you, Gory?
The one for me is The Final Girls. To me, that is another movie that's perfection. And I think it deserves to go down as one of the greatest horror comedies of all time. To me, it's as good as Cabin in the Woods. And everyone loves Cabin in the Woods. I don't understand why more people don't love The Final Girls. When it came out, I watched a lot of reviews, and they all had the same complaint, was that it didn't have very bloody kills and it didn't show nudity. Which, I mean, that only upsets me just because I know the whole story behind it, from watching the commentary, that they wanted that. And basically the producers said, if you're going to have a mother and daughter be the central relationship, it's going to be marketed towards women, and women don't like that, which that pisses me off. I hate it when producers don't. And it was either that or they had to change it to a romantic relationship and then they could have the blood and the gore. And they're like, no, this is a mother-daughter story. And I love it because it's also so personal. It was written by, you guys have seen Near Dark?
Yes.
The guy who plays the little kid, Homer. He's also Teen Witch. He's one of the co-writers of this, and he's also the son of Father Karras from The Exorcist. So it's really cool because he wrote this from having to grow up watching his dad die in a movie all the time, and then his dad actually died. And so, that's why it was so important there was a child parent relationship. And it's just, this movie is like one of the few horror movies that's ever made me cry, and it makes me cry every time I watch it, but it also makes me laugh out loud. It's got so much heart in it. It's beautifully filmed. The performances are phenomenal. Thaisa Farmiga's in it, and I wish Vera played her mom. That's the one thing I would have changed. But
yeah, that would have been cool.
Great too. But what pisses me off is everyone's like, there's no nudity and there's no violence. How is it that Scream gets to be put on the list of greatest horror movies of all time then? Because Scream's kills aren't that violent and Scream shows no nudity. And don't tell me it's because, Final Girls, they teased it twice. Neve Campbell takes off her bra or opens her shirt and we don't see her tits. So why does Scream get a pass and The Final Girls doesn't? Texas Chainsaw Massacre doesn't have any nudity really or violent kills. It's all in your head. So I don't know why that movie got hammered on so much. I don't think it's fair.
Yeah, that's a good answer. That's a good one. Confused Reviews was also saying something. That I love this comment. Midnight Mass was a show that I watched in chunks because of just how real and raw it felt. It's one of the greatest ways of describing death I have ever seen. Still was robbed at the Oscars. Midnight Mass was awesome.
That was
I
really
haven't
good.
seen it yet.
You haven't seen it? You gotta see
Ooh,
it.
you
Listen.
have
Well,
to.
go ahead,
Yeah.
Coriander. You explain it.
Well, no, it's just, I was
I
just
know.
going to say, it's one that you binge because once you start it, you can't stop. I'm sorry, I couldn't stop. So
Mhm.
it took like,
I
what, a
want
couple
to see it
days?
because it's Mike Flanagan and everything. I know I'm gonna love it, but I have not seen it yet, so I'm kicking myself.
Yeah,
I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
you
Luke.
definitely should check
That
it
would
out.
be why I didn't vote for it because I didn't see it.
it's really good.
I voted for it. It was great.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I want to see
Yeah.
that. I'll probably watch it tonight now.
There you go.
Yes, yeah.
Speaking of which, and I also wanted to take a few minutes just to talk about the Oscars. First of all, I think the event went really, really well. It was very
Mhm.
enjoyable. So again, congratulations to you and Danny. For any of you
Yeah.
guys in the chat that are watching, if you did not see the Oscars, it was just such a fun event. There was so many
It
of us
was.
from the horror community, all supportive, having a
Yeah.
good time, so entertained. So I just wanted to say you guys did a hell of a job, and you must be so relieved that it's done
It's
and
over.
over.
Honestly, my job for the Oscars isn't that much. I'm Dan's tech person. I run the stream for him, and I
Mhm.
do help him with a few other things like suggestions and stuff. But he is the one who sends the ballots individually to everybody. He is the one who
Mhm.
gets the nominations. He is the one who invites people. He is the one who decides what rewards they're going to present. He does it all, and he was working on that for
Nice.
over a month before the show.
I can only imagine. I
Yeah,
mean,
he worked hard. And
wow.
also on top of that, a lot of people, because he wants, it's awesome that we got some big people on there, but that's not what it's about. It's about the whole
Mhm.
community as a whole. So that includes the big people, obviously, and it's exciting. But
Mhm.
it's also about the smaller channels. And yeah, so some of the smaller channels don't always have the ability to include images and stuff. So he does
Mhm.
that for them. A lot of
Mhm.
them he edited himself and included the clips and the images.
Mhm.
And it's a lot of work, but he did a great job and I'm really proud of him.
Yeah.
The only
No, I
mess
mean,
up was mine because I accidentally didn't play one of the awards until the very end, but at least it got in there.
yeah, no, I think you guys did well. I mean, when you're live, I mean,
I just
we
feel
live
terrible.
stream. Well, no, I know, but I mean, we live stream all the time, and anyone that's watched this channel knows that sometimes tech stuff happens or sometimes you forget something, and you just got to kind of roll with it. I think it is so difficult to be live, even if you're playing pre-recorded clips like you guys were, but still to be live and to talk about something and make sense while you're still trying to interact with an audience and so forth and so forth. It is so difficult. I think people really don't understand how difficult it is until they have to do it. But I can tell you from firsthand experience, it is so difficult.
Oh,
I'd much rather, do a video and edit it and edit out all the mistakes and make it exactly the way I want it. To me, that's, you can have it the way you want it. But when you're live and unscripted, it is totally, you're just hanging out in the wind and you're just letting it go, And like
we
I said,
had
I
an
think you guys did
Oscars
great.
once where my cat jumped on the computer and turned it off.
Oh,
That one wasn't my fault, but now I have
oh
a protector thing on it for that
no.
reason. But yeah, the
Wow.
other event we do, which is my event, the Oscars was his creation. My creation was the creepy channel crawl.
Mhm.
100%. That's over. If you guys aren't familiar with the creepy channel crawl, it was something that I did again to celebrate the community and to bring people together. Which that's one thing I love. I have people tell me all the time, like that their good friend that they made in the community they met on the crawl. But what the
Yeah.
crawl is it starts over on my channel, and every hour you go to another channel for another hour live stream about horror. So it starts on
Mhm.
my channel, and like 1 year I was talking about introducing kids to horror, and they have guests, and so I had some younger creators on, which was really fun. And then it might go over tonight for an hour with his guests, and then it's going to go over to somebody else. It's a pub crawl, but live
Mhm.
streams. And last year, or not last year, the last time I did it was we did it for 28 hours, and I was so tired. I stayed up for, but I
Holy
stayed up for the
moly.
whole thing because I wanted to support everybody, and
Mhm.
there'd be tech issues or somebody wouldn't come through, and we'd have to get a last minute guess. I filled in for so many of them, but
Mhm.
100% worth it. And I'm
That
bringing
is
it back
so
this
cool.
summer.
Awesome.
Nice.
That is so cool. Very, very cool. Jamie's in the chat saying, hello. I just saw TCM 2022 and I thought it was so good. My eyes teared up. Oh, wow. That's cool. Yeah. And that was a movie. I enjoyed it. I know there were a lot of
Yeah.
people that didn't, and it was divisive, but I got to admit, considering the issues that they had with production and so forth, and, obviously it was on Netflix, and I was very surprised that I enjoyed it as much as I did. I thought they did a heck of a job, I thought they did a heck of a job. Was it perfect? Hell no. But it was enjoyable to me. What'd you guys think of TCM?
I think it had its flaws. The only thing that
Mm.
upset me was I don't think they should have brought Sally into it because it wasn't their character.
Yes.
The actress
Right,
has
right.
passed away and the director has passed away, and I think that's wasn't their place. And the fact that it felt like they were doing it just to try to get some of the rub from Halloween, that pissed me
Yeah.
off. But beyond that,
Mhm.
it was a fun movie. I
Mhm.
also would have
Yeah,
liked to see the family in there because I feel like Leatherface on his own is kind of
I
weird.
know. I
But it was
agree.
enjoyable. I didn't
Yeah.
dislike it. I had a good time.
Mhm.
Mm.
How about you, Coriander?
I agree. It was a good time, but I didn't really think Sally. You knew that from the
Yeah, I
beginning.
know. Yeah.
I don't think she should have been in it. And yeah, but it was enjoyable. I loved the gore. I'm a gore
Yeah.
girl, and I loved the gore in this, especially when,
Yeah.
he was taking off his mother's face for his new mask. It was like,
There's
Mhm.
a lot of things I did
Yeah.
really like about it. So,
yeah,
like
Yeah.
I'm very much
I
like
was impressed.
I enjoyed it. It's not something that like I loved, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Aiden was saying The Ritual is phenomenal. It's the Blair Witch film I never knew I wanted. You are so
So
right. The
good.
Ritual is good. That's a great one. Very good call on that. David said Knight has watched Midsommar 2 more times than me. That's good. A Cure for Wellness. That was a quirky one too. I actually enjoyed that. That's a good call, Brandon. That is a good one. Bone Tomahawk. Yeah, Kurt Russell. Great call, Beth. Jamie saying, I loved Halloween Kills too. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. I really enjoyed it too. But Beth didn't. She says, Halloween Kills, I'll pass. Uh, Patrick's in the chat saying The Final Girls is wonderful. Yeah, absolutely.
Really good.
Absolutely.
And that's
Now,
another thing too with that movie, that made me sad about people dismissing it because with horror, and I'll tell you this to all of you guys who are like, I'm so tired. I know a lot of you guys in the chat have been really great about horror, but and to anyone who says I'm not saying anything new, you vote with your dollar. So what are
right.
you voting for? What are you seeing in the theater? Is it another Marvel movie? Because you're going to get more Marvel movies. You
Right. That's
vote with your
true.
dollar. What physical media you're buying, what you're seeing in the theater, that is your vote. That is what you're telling producers who make the movies. That's what you're telling them you want to see. So if you only ever leave the house to go see the newest Halloween, you're going to get another Halloween sequel. And unfortunately, it's the IPs that get the most audience draws at the theater. So you want to see something new and different. When you see something new and different at the theater, take a chance, spend your money, buy a ticket, and support it.
Absolutely. No, I agree. No doubt about that. No doubt at all. David is saying anything for Jackson is one I rarely hear talked about. I've heard of that, but I haven't seen it. So
It's
now,
on Shudder.
Dave. Okay, David. Yeah. Well, I guess you like it, obviously, because you mentioned it. I'll have to check that out because David's got a pretty good, you know, taste in movies. So I'll definitely check that out. And if it's on Shudder, that's easy enough for me to do. And by the way, for you guys in the chat, if you have not already, please give the video a like. That helps support the channel, and we would appreciate it very, very much. And we also do have Gory's link to her channel in the description, so check her out. Aiden also saying Malignant was freaking amazing. My
That's
favorite
what
James Wan
I
film.
put off talking about just because everyone in the chat's seen it. But honestly,
Mhm.
that was my favorite movie of last year. I have not marked out so hard for a film before. Like, I literally got up in I watched it at home and I was so upset I didn't see it in the theater. But I literally got up from my seat and I was like, oh my God, like I was having so much fun. Like I
Yeah,
haven't had that
man.
much fun in so long. And it was just so much fun. And I was so proud of it because it won Best creature or best killer at the Oscars, and that's hard to do when you're up against like IPs like Michael Myers and stuff. So that's one where I'm 100% glad that people support that movie, because it's not an IP. It's so different. It's so original. And I really just think it's something special.
Yeah, no, I mean, when I was watching it, and Coriander, you know this, when that moment happened, I won't say it because there might be some people that haven't seen it yet, but when that moment happened in the movie, I was enjoying it all the way through. But when that moment happened, my jaw literally dropped, and I was like, "What?" And again, I've seen so many damn movies. You know, I've been a fan of movies since I was a little kid, and when I can have that type of reaction to a movie, I'm on cloud nine. I just like, wow, James Wan did something I did not expect. You know, it was so different than his other horror films, which is kind of how the trailer made it seem, that it was going to be kind of in the vein of something like
I thought it was going
Insidious.
to be another ghosty type thing.
Yeah, and it totally, well, no spoilers, but it was different. So
I want to say something about Malignant, because Malignant is a divisive movie. You tend to either love it or you hate it. And the biggest complaint I hear about Malignant is the one that I think is the most unfair is they're like, well, the acting was bad. Okay, so James Wan, he said that his motivation behind Malignant was he was going to make that weird movie that you would used to be able to find in the back of the video store, and then you'd tell all your friends about how fucking weird it was, like, which is entirely my cup of tea. But that's what he made. And if you watch that, it also has a lot of giallo influences. And again, if you watch the giallos, there are giallos that have some good acting, but especially because they had to be dubbed and stuff, sometimes the acting's a little stilted or stiff. And I feel like he made an intentional choice to have the actors portray the characters that way, because I've seen them in other things. And I think he knew exactly, he was trying to make that kind of oddball like movie from like you find from like the 70s or the 80s. So that was a choice he made.
Yeah,
I think it worked really well.
Absolutely. Yeah. And oh, hey, we got a super chat from Haunted by Horror. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. Very, very kind of you. We really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much. It's very, very sweet. Saying, I think Leslie Vernon needs more love. I agree with that. That was a good movie.
Sequel? Where's my sequel?
Yes.
They've been talking about that for so long.
Yes. And in honor of the super chat, we're going to start doing this on the channel. In honor of your super chat, this is what we got to say.
Baby, can you dig your man? He's a righteous man.
He's a righteous man. He's a righteous man, baby. Can you dig your man? Thank you so much.
I didn't even hear it.
Oh.
So you guys are jamming, and I'm like, what the hell are you jamming to?
Most of the time, I don't need anything.
But no, thank you so much. We appreciate the super chat. That's very, very kind of you. Truly, thank you. But let's do this. I know we're going to get ready to end up here. But Gory, do you have any other new things that I know you told me some things, but are there any things that you want to tell the audience about things that are coming up or ideas that you're working on for your channel? Because you know you've been around the block, you've done a lot of different things on YouTube, so I just thought this would be a great opportunity for you to maybe, if you want, to share anything with the audience for things coming up.
I've gotten better. All the gory details I do, which are like deep dive retrospectives into B movies, they used to take me months to do. I was really proud that I got Leprechaun done in a month, which is, I've never done it that quickly before.
It's so funny you say that, because I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but well, first of all, I've watched it twice, and it is so good. I didn't leave a comment because I didn't want to. I didn't want you to know I was going to do this tonight, because obviously we knew you were going to be coming back on. But for you guys in the chat, if you guys have not seen her video, her deep dive on Leprechaun, you got to check it out. It is such a well-made video. It really, really is. All the fact checking, the jokes, the clips, your discussion of it. It was so good, seriously. And I hadn't watched Leprechaun in a long time, and out of the franchise, that's the one that I'm actually like, okay, that was a good one. And then, I have other opinions about the other ones, but when I watched your video, I was like, man, this is so good. And I said, man, I gotta I got to at least acknowledge this on our stream. So I didn't want to leave a comment yet because I didn't want to say some of this that I'm saying now here live. But guys, this is the link to her Leprechaun video, her deep dive. You got to check it out, man. It's
Thank you so
seriously one
much.
of, no, I'm serious. And you can honestly tell. I said to myself when I watched it, I mean, the video is like 43, 44 minutes long, something like
It's really
that.
long. I was worried nobody would watch it.
No, 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 and that's the point, is that I couldn't stop watching it, and I was just thinking to myself, "Wow, I can't imagine how much work you put into this one video." And so very, very cool. Very, very cool.
Something really exciting about it is I do extensive research. Like, I don't just like go to the trivia page of IMDb, because that's not always
Mhm.
very reliable. Anybody can add to that. And actually, the trivia for Leprechaun on there is wrong. There's 3 things on there that are wrong, that are
Yep.
popular misconceptions about the movie that I didn't even realize were wrong, because I'd
Mhm,
heard them
mhm.
too, which is
Yep.
interesting that it's such a well-known movie, and like that there's like these myths about it that are completely
Mhm.
unfounded. But yeah, I watched a live stream I watched a lot of interviews with Mark Jones to get like the real story. And in one of them, he shared his email address. So when I was done with it, I just like, so I made this video. Probably too busy doing, if you want to watch it, I really love your movie. And
Mm.
yeah, I made this with a lot of love. If you want to watch it, here it is. And he watched it and he emailed me back. He left a really nice comment. And
Yeah,
he's
he
like, I
did.
never leave comments on videos. But he's like, that might be the best Leprechaun video I've ever seen. And I know he's shared it because
Mhm.
now David Price, the co-producer, has also left me a comment. I'm sure Mark Jones told him about it, because I don't have a big channel. I have less than 2,000 subscribers. And then Mark Holton, who played Ozzy, just left me a comment the other day. So I think he's been sharing it with people in the movie, which is just really special.
That is
Oh, that's
awesome. Very,
awesome.
very cool. Very, very cool. So anyways, I just wanted to acknowledge that. But I'm sorry, I had interrupted you, but you were talking about things that you got coming up
No,
for
if you're
your
going to interrupt
channel.
me to compliment me, go ahead. I'll just be
You're too funny. But you've got ideas for new streams and stuff that you want to do as well.
Yeah, like I said, so the last few years, I just haven't been producing that much content. I'm trying to get better about mixing it up with like some shorter videos. So I'm definitely probably gonna do my ranking of Screams coming out. And I'm gonna do another Real versus Real, because I know people like that series and I've only done 2. But I know
Mhm.
Bunny Men is the best performing video on my channel. So, and I like doing this because I like to research. If you guys haven't noticed, I love to research. I'm a
Mhm.
nerd.
Mhm.
So
So are we
I want to
all.
do that, but I also want to bring in some streams. I used to do Ghouls Night Out, and I do want to bring that back, because I do think that a lot of the streams I see in the horror community are, just tend to be a lot of guys, which this is
Mhm.
nice because we're actually outnumbering you. But that's what the
Woo!
whole Ghouls Night Out was, to bring the women in the community together and support each other, and to
Yes.
talk about topics that are about women in horror as well. So it's women of horror tube talking about women of horror. So I definitely want to do one, I think, talking about female directors, because there were some great ones this last year. I
Mhm.
also like to, I like to expand my horizons and kind of see horror movies from different people's point of views. And one of the really good streams I did before was I talked to a trans friend about trans horror on a stream. So I kind of want to continue doing that with people who have different perspectives than me, so that I can learn and then also my audience can learn. So I do want to have Night On. I want to talk about like the history of Black horror film, and like,
Mm.
pick your brain about representation and what movies you like and what filmmakers are influential and what got you into horror. Like, what was the draw for you? So I
Mhm.
want to do that. And I also have a friend who is a little person, and I'd like to do that with him too. So
Mm.
I think these are discussions that hopefully will make people look at movies in different ways. Hopefully, it'll make me look at movies in different ways. So I'm excited about
Yeah.
that.
That's awesome. I mean, I think that that's very cool because, we're all horror fans, but to be able to enjoy that with others, but also expanding, our horizons, so to speak. I know that sounds so damn cliche, but I mean it.
But
But
like,
to
but
to
last time we
but to do
talked, I
that, it's so
talked about
cool.
The Conjuring, and you'd never seen it that way because you're not a witch. I'm
That's
a
right.
witch. I also
Mhm.
want to do one about witchcraft and horror with Nightmare Maven, who's also a witch. So,
Mhm.
but it's, I want to get your perspective on things that I haven't heard, because
Mm.
I'm not
Mhm.
you. I haven't lived your life. And so those movies are going to affect, horror movies are going to affect you differently than me. And I want to hear your perspective. I want to, understand more. And I'm not going to know unless I talk to people who, um, are also horror fans, but are coming at it from a different point of view.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, that, like I said, that's some great stuff. I think it'll be some really, really fun conversations. Really, really, and educational, which is always a good thing too.
Yeah.
Danny's in the chat. What's up? What's up? What's up? How you doing? And Brandon says, speaking of Danny, that's funny. I like that. Nice. Everyone's like, we're talking about you. Bring back the crawl.
Yeah, bring
Yeah.
back the call this summer. And I also think, I've never done this. I've never done a stream just by myself, shooting the shit. I've never done it. And I kind of want to challenge myself to
Oh.
do that. So maybe even I'll do it tonight. I was thinking about either tonight or sometime this week, just doing one talking about what I watched last year. I've never done that before. Maybe I will. Usually I have at least Danny with me or I have a guest. But I think that'd be a fun challenge for myself.
You should do it. You really should.
We'll see.
You're like, I don't know if I'm gonna do it. You'd be
sounds
fine
intimidating,
doing
but
it.
I think it could be fun. I mean, the main reason I want to do it is because, like I said, I've made so many. I have friends on YouTube that are as good of friends to me as my friends that live in town. And a lot of it is because of streams. I feel like we've hung out, we've watched movies together, we've experienced so many things, like you are a friend. You can come over to my house anytime and have a beer. Coriander, come on over, because we're hanging out right now. And that's how you build these relationships. But I thought doing a stream by myself, I'd like to talk to the chat more and really focus on what they have to say and, and hear from them, which a lot of times I don't have time to because I'm really focused on who I'm talking to on the stream.
Right. No, good point. Good point. I agree with you. Absolutely. And this is one thing that, because I'm a huge Carpenter fan, but Beth was saying anyone else hopes that Carpenter comes back for one more feature. He can't end his career with The Ward. Look,
I didn't see it. Was it bad?
Well, okay.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either.
Look, and maybe I'm just so much of a Carpenter fan, but I mean, I didn't hate it. It definitely wasn't his best, but I didn't hate it. But I agree, it'd be great for him to come back, and just do what he wants to do. Part of the reason that he stepped away, from Hollywood is because just the bullshit, all the problems with the studios and this and that. But it'd be great if he had the opportunity to come back and do what he wanted to do and didn't have a lot of involvement from outside forces. I'd be down for that. I really would. I don't know if he would do it.
Very few horror filmmakers get to a place where they essentially can call the shots. And he is so renowned at this point that I feel like any studio would be stupid to not let him do what he wants to do. I know a lot of times with movies in the past, he didn't get to do what he wanted to do, and it was really frustrating for him. But I think, end on a high note, make that one movie you always wanted to make that the studio always told you no, because at this point, I don't think anyone would tell him no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Though he was in Studio 666, which was a pleasant surprise.
I think one of the only movies that he did where, on a higher, a bigger stage that he didn't have a lot of problems with was The Thing, because he spoke about how everybody was on the same page and he was so happy with the way the production went. They did a lot of stuff in pre-production and with the cast and, scoping out the area that they were going to be using for Outpost 31 and so forth. I just wish, like I said, if he could do one more and just have that type of scenario where he doesn't have involvement, I would love to see it. Absolutely.
I think with The Thing, it was kind of like with Wes Craven and Scream, like the studio didn't think it was going to be a big deal. And so they kind of ignored it and they were kind of left to their own devices. But when the studio starts getting involved, like for a lot of filmmakers, that can ruin it. Like Wes Craven said, like Scream 4, he didn't even feel like it was his movie, which sucks, because I think he worked really hard on it. But, producers can really just kill it for a lot of directors and filmmakers. So it's kind of a bummer.
Absolutely.
When I do these deep dives, a lot of times when we run into a snafu, like something that sucks about like what happened in the movie, it's the fucking money people because they don't get it.
Yep. True enough.
It's a running gag in that Leprechaun one about what Trimark did. I'm just like, dang it.
Curse you, Trimark.
Well, I'm a witch, I gotta use my powers.
David was saying Antlers is one that that I think didn't live up to the people's expectations. I loved it. Coriander, you were really interested in seeing that movie. What did you think of it, after watching it?
I enjoyed it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think Antlers had really good. The kid in it was really good, and I think it's
Yeah.
He
kind of a
was.
cool idea. They did some messy stuff with the characters. Like I didn't even know that the main two were brother and sister until halfway through. Like they weren't really clear about their relationships, and there's a whole bunch of backstory stuff hinted at with the main girl that they never really explored. So it's a bit messy, especially for something that Guillermo del Toro was involved with. I kind
Mm.
of tend to expect more from him, but
Right,
I
right.
do think it was, it was good. It just I think it could have been a lot better. It feels
Mm.
like something that has a lot of stuff cut out of it. That's how it feels to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, I'll be interested. I mean, because I think we'll probably talk about it at some point, but I'll be interested to find that out if possible to see if there was a lot of stuff that was just left on the cutting floor or whatever. So nice, nice. Well, let's see. Jamie was saying, can you post that link in the chat? Um, if you're talking about the Leprechaun episode, I think I had put it in. Let me just double check
Or
here.
you can just go to Gory B Movie. I have like 10 videos. It's so easy to find.
10. You need to stop, man. What's up, DMC? DMC's in the chat. Okay,
Yeah,
Jamie says she
yeah.
sees it. She says I see it now. Okay, so we're all set on that. Good, good,
I
good,
hope
good,
you
good.
guys enjoy it. Like, I was nervous about it being so long, and I'm interested in like all kinds of stuff, and I think it's good to like look at all aspects of it, not just like the actors, but the producers and the stunt people, and they're all part of making this movie. And but
Hmm.
sometimes I'm just like, I don't know if people are going to be interested in that, but I put it in there, and it's really cool that a lot of people seem to be interested and to be
Yeah,
enjoying it. So that's
yeah.
awesome.
No, it's a great video, absolutely. All right, ladies. Well, I know I've kept this way over an hour, so we'll get ready to end up here. But first of all, I want to say, Gory, thanks for coming back on, and awesome to have you. Great event with the Oscars. You guys
Yeah.
killed it. So many great presenters, and we were just so happy to be a part of that. And wow, what an awesome live
You
chat
are
that you guys
amazing.
had.
Both of you were so good. That was awesome. You and
It-
Killian, the three of you.
yeah, we were just doing what we usually do. It was fun. It's funny though, because at first I was like, man, I wonder if this is going to be good enough, let me say this, and this is where I know I keep saying we're about to end it, but I'll end it here. I had watched last year's, and this was when we had the first channel, which obviously I lost, but I was so amazed not only by the concept but the way that the show went. And I was like, wow, this is such a cool thing. So then, obviously for this year, being invited to do it, it was like, wow, this is so cool. And like I said, it was so much fun to be a part of it. And live chat was so
Yeah.
supportive and full of love. It was great.
You and Craven were. Danny always asks me like, "Do you know anybody like new that we didn't have on before?" And I was like, "Can you get the Nightwatch song?" Yes, Craven. Like I always ask. He asked me for suggestions, so you were my suggestions. But I think what made your
Nice.
guys' presentation so good is, I think we're trying to expose what audience we have and what audiences are brought in by the people who are presenting
Hmm.
to new different people in the horror community. And the best
Hmm.
presenters I think are when they give you a slice of what their channel is like, because it's like, this is what you're going to find here, and you perfectly did that. What you did with your presentation, that's a good taste of the Night Watch Zone, and it was entertaining. And yeah, it's like if you enjoyed that 100%, then they would enjoy this channel.
Yeah, yeah,
It
absolutely.
was
Well,
really
thank
good.
you. Thank you, thank you, and I can't wait to see what you guys do next year. It was
Yeah.
cool, man. It really was. I know I keep
We
saying
already
that, but I
have
really do
ideas.
mean it. I bet. That's awesome to hear, though. I mean, it's so exciting. It's
Hmm.
a great community event. It really is. But anyways, for you guys in the chat, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. We really appreciate it. This was fun just to do a little yapping, talking about modern horror movies and some recommendations that we have. There's obviously tons more we could give, but it's just to give you guys an idea that there's a lot of movies that have been really cool that have come out in the last decade or so. So definitely check those out if you have not seen them. Check out Gory's channel. The link is in the description. Wonderful content creator, and also Horror Addicts and the Oscars. If you haven't seen that, check that out. It was
Oh,
a
and
fabulous
Freaky
event.
Girls Live.
Okay, all right.
Dice and I are
Absolutely.
both on that. It's
Okay.
a monthly
Nice.
live stream that we're on, but it's a channel.
Nice. Okay.
Like how you
Yeah.
have Lethal Collective, we're on Freaky
Yes.
Girls Live.
Okay, sweet. Well, I gotta check that out. Jeez, you and Dice. All right, cool. So yeah, plenty of opportunities to catch these wonderful content creators. So check them out. Leave us a comment in the comment section. Let us know what you think about some of our recommendations. You guys in the live chat were killing it, giving us some of your recommendations. Throw those into the comment section because, like I said, I love my watch list and it always grows. And I want to put more on that watch list to check out. So, anyways, we will catch you guys later. If you're watching this, if you're listening to this, you are the Night Watch. Peace.
Up church.